back, YouTube. I actually filmed this video about a week ago. Somehow managed to delete over 2 hours of footage on my camera. So I'm going to redo it. I'm going to go and squat, and that is why this video is late, because I'd done it and then deleted it and you missed week 2. So now we're up to week 3. So I'm now 7 weeks out from the powerlifting comp. Weight wise, my weight didn't drop a massive amount this week, but it did drop down last week. I obviously didn't do a check-in then with you on YouTube. So I've got about 4 kilos to go till I make weight for the powerlifting comp with 7 weeks. So just over 500 grams a week, pretty much on track if we need to do like a very mild water cut, because obviously with PA I have to weigh in on the day of the comp, not the day before. So you can't really cut too much. Other than that, at the moment, we've just stepped my training up to 6-day split. So I'm going to squat today. It's my heavy day. I'm going to try to hit I think it's 2 sets of 4 on 110, which is scary. And then after that, I actually drop back in weight and then do a few lighter sets on, I think it's 100 or 105 for sets of 4. So working kind of in the 4 to 6 rep range at the moment. I've got a couple of speed days where I do singles on my squats, and that is it. That is where we're at. I will go and squat. You can enjoy some footage. I also got I got different powerlifting shoes, so I'll show you. So I just got these bad boys. So I've obviously just switched over since using my Adidas. I haven't done a heavy session in them yet, so this will be the first heavy session that I do. So far they've obviously got a wider base on the bottom. You can see they're a little bit girthier across there, but other than that, pretty similar, to be honest. Probably didn't need new shoes, but my other ones are dirty and they're white, so I wanted black shoes. Yeah, enjoyed squats. Touch me. 3 of them to quickly go through. One of them asked, hey, this is from Beck, you say you make fresh salads twice a week. Is this just basic salads or do you make a full salad with all the fun stuff? Mine always goes soggy. Can you give some salad suggestions and dressings? So what I tend to do with salads is I don't put the dressing on when I make it up. So if I make it for say 3 days, I'll just dress the salad when I eat it. So usually I'll just put on barbecue sauce, lemon juice, really simple things like that. I do have another YouTube video that I'll link below here. And in the comments below I'll put the bio to it, which has 3 simple salad dressings that are super low calorie that we did last year. So you can go check that video out, that should help, but I hope that answers your question. So yeah, don't put any wet stuff in until you're actually pretty much ready to eat it. Keep it pretty simple. You keep it rolling.
Keep you rolling.
Alright, this next question is from Instagram. And that one is from Eat, Drink, Play Perth, who is Lexi, a mum of 3. She's got an awesome Instagram as well if you want to go check her out. It's at Eat, Drink, Play Perth. I'll put the at below. Lexi said, do you think you can use a generic off-the-shelf diet and training plan to hit the stage? I'm assuming she means bodybuilding stage, not powerlifting. Do you need specific plans? Is it necessary to hire a coach? Should you understand carb cycling, water depletion? This is a massive question, so I'm just going to pick a couple of things out of it. In terms of using a generic off-the-shelf diet and training plan, it depends who you're getting a generic plan off. If that generic plan is off, say, like I do a few generic plans for training that are periodized, then I think it might be okay in terms of a training sense to get something generic, but in terms of a nutritional sense, I would not be getting something generic for contest prep, because your changes need to be made weekly, on a weekly basis, or even more frequently during contest prep. I check in with my clients every couple of days when they're in like the final few weeks of prep. If you're getting some generic plan, who's to say that's going to get you lean enough for the stage or too lean? You might come in, I would say most of the time you're probably not going to be lean enough following some generic plan. I just really don't think that's a good idea, to be honest. You're not going to get the results you're chasing using any form of generic plan, and this is why comp prep coaches are out there. It actually requires a lot of effort, a lot of feedback from the client. Again, depends on the person. If you're pretty experienced and you know a lot about nutrition and training already, say you're already a coach, then I'm sure you can probably prep yourself and use some generic plans for training, but really nutritionally you need to be doing check-ins with someone frequently. You don't always have to have a meal plan. You can just work with a macro coach. It's not so much about what food you're eating, it's actually about the calories and the macronutrients and the adjustments, how your body's responding to that. She also said, is it necessary to hire a coach? So I pretty much answered that question. Yes, I think it's important to hire a coach if you don't have experience on training and nutrition and don't think you can prep yourself, at least for your first show, and then see how you go. It's really an investment hiring the coach. I hired a coach for my first few shows. Should you understand carb cycling, water depletion? Yes. Again, if you don't understand those things, I would not be prepping yourself. Not everyone has to carb cycle, not everyone has to water deplete. Again, that's when you need a coach to step in and say, we're going to use this method, we're going to use that method. Depending on, again, what category you're doing is going to, again, depend on all these questions. They're very generic questions, so unfortunately I'm answering as a generic reply and doing the best I can to that. But if you have any more questions, Lexi, just shoot me an email. If comp prep is something you want to discuss, then I'm happy to chat with you about that. Okay, another question of Snapchat. I'm going to find it now. Okay. Now, another question from Jordan Moore on Snapchat. How do you create an ideal hormonal profile for fat loss / muscle gain? That is a very, very broad question, Jordan. Simple answer to that is you cannot create one ideal plan. Again, you'd want to work with a coach on creating that plan. What I want to talk about here is probably hormonal optimization and metabolic optimization. So what you're trying to do is create a plan that not only supports healthy hormones, which would mean you need to get blood work done or saliva testing, something to actually check if your hormones are healthy, and then that in terms of how that's being affected by the current diet and training regime you're doing. So you can't really create a plan unless you're testing those things. So what I would suggest that you do, Jordan, is that you first get your blood work done, check if your hormones are healthy. If everything's on track, then you're probably doing a great job where you're at, depending on if you're getting results. So you also said for fat loss / muscle gain. These two things are very different. So if your goal is fat loss, then that will tend to affect your hormonal changes a lot more. Often when people are in a deficit, then their hormones are going to be a little bit suppressed. So you want to create a fat loss plan that keeps your hormones as healthy as possible, which means I wouldn't make any drastic changes. You want to keep everything pretty consistent. You might need to slow down your fat loss and make sure that your hormones are optimized. The other thing is looking at your macronutrients. So are you having enough fats to support your hormones, enough overall calories? Are you overtraining, undertraining, all of those things? If it's muscle gain, on the other hand, you're not going to run into as many hormonal problems in a muscle gain stage, because obviously at that point you're in more of a caloric surplus. So you're probably going to be looking after most of your hormones, but again, you want to look at whether you're overtraining in that stage, eating enough for your gains, everything like that. So creating an ideal hormonal profile is going to be very difficult, very, very individual. And it's going to be a lot of trial and error, a lot of testing, a lot of seeing where you're at, and then making adjustments based upon that. It's not going to be a once-off plan. Okay, last one.
I've got to go to work.
Oh, sorry.
Didn't know you